Hi there, humans, bees, earthlies, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are lucky enough to be doing it too. Today is a new day, and we're going to be doing a new style of video. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and this is the Grille 15. Now, I actually did two videos today. I did this and a T110E3, or I shot two bunches of footage. And I decided to try something slightly different. It's not going to be something I do every day of the week, but just to run 3 games straight. So I ran 3 games straight in the Grille, switched to the E3 immediately, and ran 3 games straight in the E3. And I thought I'd do that to give it a bit of a more raw and honest feel, so that everyone doesn't think I'm just cutting things together, and that I am actually able to put some of these things that I talk about into action, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right here, right now. As always, it's a patron-sponsored post, and it needs to be sponsored because the Grille has such crap armor that you get hit a lot and you pay a lot in repairs. So keep it coming, the sponsorship. Love you all. Look after your families. Be nice to your mum. This is the Indomitable Fails Creek, and I am camping the spawn. Now, you can forgive me for this because they have a huge medium advantage, and I'm in a very, very soft tank. I can't push here. If you're going to be driving the Grille, you need to understand that it is a tank that is absolutely at the whims of its team when it comes to position and firing. And if you put that into your mind frame and your mindset, you'll be really, really well off with this tank because you can't force it. I drove 3 in the Grille and 3 in the E3. Now, the E3 is far less reliant on the team for its own defense, but at the same time, it suffers tremendously versus the Grille in that it is so immobile. Once it's in a bad position, it really doesn't have any other options. And it's one of the reasons why I chose these two tanks first cab off the rank. One of the things I like to do when I'm driving the 150mm Tier 10 TDs is just focus on, if you can get 4 shots in, that'll give you about 2,500 damage. If you can get 6 shots in, you'll be doing 3k. And so all you've got to do is get 4 shots and you've done your job, right? If you can get 4 shots in on a tank, you'll have done your job. Now, this is an interesting one because I'm not spotted. That's why I'm firing there as well. There's someone in the cap circle. I'm popping off where they may be, and then moving. No light bulbs, so I know I'm safe to move up and take off a little bit more of the territory. Now, you'll see I am well behind a screen of green friendly tanks. There is no way that I'm going anywhere else. I'm going to simply stick behind these boyos and girlos and do my level best. Now, Snake Eyes doesn't really like this tank. I love it. I think it's one of the strongest Tier 10 TDs, and it's because of mobility. I'm a sucker for any tank that can move really, really quickly, and it doesn't matter so much about the armor profile. Now, I think it's an excellent tank for both competitive gaming and to an even higher degree for the day-to-day platoon work that you're going to see. Now, none of these games that you're going to see are me in platoon, and they all happen one after the other. So there's no mucking around. You're going to get honest assessments, and this is why I really wanted to drive this thing, because I get so many people telling me that this is not a good tank, and it's just not true. The gun on it is absolutely brilliant. Now, remember what I said. All you got to do is hit 4 shots to have done your job, and 5 shots and you're doing 3,000 damage, which is a good game in anyone's book. I'm not good enough to average 3,000 damage at Tier X. I probably average about 2,600, 2,700 damage at Tier X, which is just fine, I guess. I don't know. It's enough. And then you'll get the easy shots at the end, where this is really just icing on the cake, and you get it because you're in a Grille. Now, I spent the whole game behind tanks, but I gave myself shots. You vampire off their hit points to a large degree, but that's what your tank was built to do. 3,300 damage, no problems, straight up. Moving right along, we're going to get our next game going, and this one's on Dead Rail. And this is a far more interesting game for me. I don't like the idea of camping on Dead Rail with the old map. The old metal, everyone would climb the back walls, and that's fine. But this was one tank where I thought it was very, very legitimate, because it's a very tough map for a Grille if you do not find some form of camp and you do not find some form of push from your team. If the team doesn't push and you're stuck toe-to-toe with the enemy, you can struggle tremendously because there's a lot of different spaces for you to get smashed from. Now you can see that FV's pushed down, so I don't have any choice. And this rock here is an excellent place to snipe the hill and surrounds from, but if there's no one on my left, then I'm absolutely not going to stick there. And you can see there's another Grille 15 over there, Grille 15, whatever. Don't worry about me. I'm not going to pronounce it correctly. I've just got it hammered into the brain. Doesn't look nice too. It looks really nice. I called it a sewing machine with a gun, and it still reminds me of a Singer sewing machine. Now this Grille and I are in exactly the same frame of mind. I'm going to move over here and look for shots. Now I'm pushing, it might look ridiculous. I'm pushing so hard on that zone line because I want to make sure that I don't get spotted, and I want to give camo and my binoculars a chance to set, and I want to be as far away as possible. And you can see we get a lovely shot on the end of the IS-7, and then immediately I'm dropping back. Now, one of the things you're going to have to look after in this tank is your camo at all times. You don't have any armor, so camo is how you maintain any form of flexibility and ability to detach from an engagement. So I'm pulling all the way back, resetting the camo, and then I'll break the engagement, bugger off, and do my own thing again. Now that's if I need to. At the moment, I'm not seeing anywhere else. I'm counting tanks, and I'm looking at who they've got left. There's a Grille, there's a Waffle. How many mediums have they got? Where are all their mediums? There's a Leo that's disappeared. I'm going to go over here. There he is again. Okay, I feel pretty confident here. I'm going to push up the back here and move to a new location. You can see I'm not going to sit still in this tank. The best thing about the Grille is its ability to do 60 kilometers an hour and have a fantastic gun, an absolute laser beam of a gun that you can move around the traps. And I miss a shot here, which is unfortunate, but it was always going to be a little bit of a hopeful. Tell him I'm reloading. I really would like to get some shots into that Grille. We don't have a flank on the left particularly. The FV's pushed up, but I'm feeling comfortable about that because I can see most of their tanks. The Leopard's the only one that's going to push around here, and I have enough hit points to go toe-to-toe with him. So I'm going to happily go and move the flank in a tick because I'm not getting shots. Now, if you're not getting shots, you've got binoculars up. I'm just taking a look with binoculars. I'm going to let the binoculars set. So if anyone is within, say, 300 meters of me, they're going to pop immediately on the radar. More than that, I think that'll take you out to 320 view range or something along those lines. So I'm going to push up here. Now, the best thing about the Grille is the speed, as I mentioned, in the gun, but it's also lovely that it's on a turret. So you can go up on hills, on inclines, and fire over the right side of the tank. I'm looking particularly for that Leopard 1. He's going to be around here somewhere. We're losing a few tanks, and that's one of the reasons I've moved. There's the Grille. Lovely jubbly. Let's load the HE for him. 889 damage. Cannibalistic tendencies whenever you're driving a German TD, because they're the best targets for you. The light, no armor profile, it's where it's at. Now, I muck around here for a little bit. Remember I talked about if you just want to get 5 or 6 shots in. Well, we've already nutted that IS-7. We hammered the T-62A. We got a big hit on the Grille 15. We've probably just about done our dash in terms of doing our, 2,400, 2,500, 2,600 damage. It's very, very close that if we get one more shot, we'll be covered, and that's all well and good. And any more than that is just, obviously gravy. I'm looking for the kill on this Grille. It's not coming. He's not coming. I can see the Leopard. I'm spotted. I've got to get off the pot. I've got to move. Now, I want to point something out here. Although I have moved up to the left, I've used the team to hold those guys and leverage, and now I'm looking for shots on them. I've actually moved. I have moved and relocated an awful lot, a fair bit here. Now, something I do with this Leopard 1, which is really quite simple. Anytime you've got a tank that is driving around and around like this, the best thing you can do is make them drive backwards, okay? So if they have to drive backwards, you're far more likely to get a shot. And that's something I pretty much hold true to. Now, the IS-7 is popping out. We still have 2 on 3, but our IS-4 is doing an absolute bonza job down the bottom. It's me and the IS-7 up the top. The Grille 15 and the IS-4 are going to work it down the bottom. He's got a hold of him. I fake that I'm going. I'm not actually going. I just want a shot on this guy. Happy to take one. I can very easily hit point trade here. It's going to cost me to kill him. I'm happy enough with that. I've saved my hit points. I've worked my way around. That is all Jim Dandy. We take one on the track. Not really side-scraping offensively there, just trying to get him to fire a shell off. And of course, the IS-7, Stalin's chosen one. It just doesn't pen. I mean, that's as much pen as I can throw at him, and it's pretty much a clear spot. But that's heat these days, and that's a good thing. And there we go. We get the kill. So, are you seeing a trend with this tank? You really wait to see how the field sets. You try and take shots at the start of the game from behind the enemy line. You really want behind your flank as they push up and everything like that. You really want to just let that settle, and then once they've settled, you can start looking at moving based on the info that you have. Now, I had pretty much info there that their team was all stuck down in that valley, and there was only really a Leopard 1 that was moving around at the end. So I was comfortable to push up and try and get shots, which was really key, because that 900 damage shot on the Grille basically made him combat ineffective for quite some time. He couldn't push the pace. Whereas I saved my hit points, I'd still put damage in. We ended up doing about 3.5k, and we got the job done at the end. Now, this is an interesting game because Fort Despair is not really what you would call a great map for this tank. I'm going to push up here to try and get shots, but I'm immediately spotted because their Leo has been very, very aggressive and pushed over to the top of the hill there right at the start of the game. He's very lucky, actually, because normally in this game, I would go to the ridge on the corner and aim right at that spot. And I'm kicking myself right now that I didn't. I'm actually thinking that they may push through. And this is a spot, I don't know if you watched the Asia Twister Cup finals, but Selbrock made a killing here versus the guys from ID in his FV215B. In that game that they were very, very close on at the end. He wasn't here, but this is a great spot. If they push that cap area. They didn't push the cap area. I thought that might have been a precursor to it. So I just took a little bit of a precautionary measure and moved up. And now I'm just looking for a shot here. There's an M103 there. I'm spotted again. I've got to pull back. You've got to be patient in this tank. And this is not a map that's ideal for it. It's just a small, small map. I've waited. I've seen that my team's flanked. They've moved out to the left. But I've got a couple of really big boys with full hit point pools here on the right, and I can come along at the back and be the fly in the ointment, be that nasty little bugger that can just put a couple of shots in and live off the scraps, basically, and be that extra gun that tips the game and helps out a whole hell of a lot. That's what I do. Roll up with the Yag. I'm still worried about that M103 that's up there. There's an E75 mucking around at the back as well. We're taking shots of opportunity without receiving any fire. We dodged nicely there. You know, that was a preemptive move, and they're all starting to fall. The dominoes are starting to fall. I can sense it. I'm going to push past that E75's there. We get a lovely little shot into him as he's pulling back, and upwards and onwards we go. It's all going to be over. We're not going to really be able to collect a whole lot more damage here. Everyone's playing too well. This is what happens when you get a team that works the angles very, very well. We've won both flanks. We've pushed this flank really, really well. I get around here and he's dead again. That's Moo Moo, my soul, with E75. So this is the problem. We've only really done 3 shots here, and I need to do 4 shots to fulfill my contractual obligations to not suck in a tier 10 match. So we're moving around. I've loaded up HE. I can see the Grille. My eyes are big as saucers, and it goes under him and hits his track, and I only do 300. Very upsetting. And then the Leo PTA just comes along and belts him. It basically makes sweet, passionate PTA love to him. And there's our Grille 15. So that's the tank. I hope that was a little bit insightful for you guys who are just coming to this line or just learning to play really big soft TDs that are pretty mobile. Not big even. It's a nice size tank, and only 2.5k there. But we got our job done. You know, we did another 700 hit points worth of damage, and we didn't die than our own hit point pool. So it's not a bad thing. You've got to take what's on the table with this tank. You cannot be the guy that pushes. You can YOLO, sure, but if you do not follow those simple rules to move behind your heavies, behind the advancing screen, and be you can be a close support gun, but you have to be in a position where you can reset your camo, and you need to be using that. It's a laser beam of a gun. It's got brilliant accuracy, and it's got pace, and you need to be using those tactics. And I'm going to be very happy to show you now tomorrow or the day after the T110E3 game I did immediately after this Grille game, and you'll see why I fall in love with tanks that are quick and have mobility and have the ability to actually set the terms of the engagement themselves. The E3 struggles to do that, and I do lose one of the games in that, which is not surprising because I probably only run about 70% most of the time, and that's you know, that's 3 out of 10 you're going to lose. And at tier 10 solo, it's probably a lot closer to 60% than it is to 70%. That's for sure. But these are good tanks, really good tanks, both of them. They just are so tremendously different, and I think that's one of the reasons I really enjoyed driving the Grille and then the E3. It gives this great disparity between the style of play, and it makes it abundantly clear the two real stereotypes: big, heavy, armored tank with a big gun, and really fast, soft tank with a big gun. And why, as you get better at the game, you come to appreciate mobility over armor 9 times out of 10. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Love your work. As always, it's a patron-sponsored post. If you want to sponsor the channel, go for your lives. The French tanks are patching up even now as I do this video, and I'm going to be doing a big week. Parlez-vous the Français next week. So I'm going to be putting on my Sans l'amour. I'm an idiot. Love your work. Bye-bye.